holding up by itself. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this out some, line it all up. We'll probably have to put our other sword on here just to make sure it's okay. We'll line all this up and we'll glue our magnets in here. And my battery's about to die, so I'll have to charge this and show you what I mean here in a little bit. Alright. Show you this real quick. I just said my battery's about to die. I am putting on the magnets now, and so you know, you can see the magnets in the tape here. I'm also putting some on the back side, so when you put them together, they'll click together and they'll make hopefully a nice seam. And there's my battery symbol again. You guys can't see it, but okay, just showing you that real quick. And I did get some more foam. I'll explain that here in a little bit. But yeah, we're putting the magnets on now. Okay. Still haven't charged my battery, but okay, you can see I've got all this lined out and I've got all my magnets laid out. On this sword here, I have laid out the magnets for it. I just don't have them in there yet. And on this sword, you can see my double X's here, and over there I've got them laid out. But that's where the magnets are going to be for the other sword to hold up there. And again, there's my battery symbol. It's really charged this thing. I just want to show you that real quick. So these are all my magnets laid out, and we're about to glue those on. All right. Okay, now that we got my battery recharged, as you can see, I've still got both my halves together. The black strip is basically silicone. I ran out of white, so I found a tube of black. So I just, same thing, it's still siliconed in there to seal it up. I got all my magnets glued in on all the edges of all my stuff. These are to pull it together, and these double here are to hold it to the sword. I'm only using one on the back. I had to use more of them to actually not make it all wavy. But I got all those glued on, everything's good. Now we're going to glue both the halves together. Oh, shoot. And again, we're going to use the great stuff to fill them with foam. Now these, I know the foam's going to come shooting out these edges here. That's kind of what I want, but not, well, I know, I'm hoping that it's not going to like blow up right here. Not too horrible, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave all that off, or actually not shave, I'm going to cut all that off, and then recut this notch out. And then the inside of the notch will be filled with foam. And I'll probably cover it with something else, but I'm not sure what yet. I haven't figured that out. And then I'll just paint it all up. So the foam will expand out of these grooves here, and that's what I'm like anticipating. Same thing, we're just gonna glue these together. We're gonna put our dowel rod in here, dowel rod, and let's do that. Okay, so whoop. Knocking stuff over. So okay, we're gonna do that, and I'll show you what I got once I got both halves glued together. Okay, I actually had both these sides glued together, but I had a problem with it. When I put one side on, this was leaning too far this way, and then when I put this one on, it was leaning too far. It was all messed up. It's hard to explain, but basically when it came together, it was forcing the top outwards, so these magnets weren't catching, so it was way out here. And then the sword would basically just not hold itself up, and it would just fall off. So what I did is I put both of them up there with one side jutting out, and I took my heat gun and I superheated this edge here. You can see I started to tear it off. I was like, yeah, that's gonna take too long. So I just superheated all this, and I basically just waited until it clicked together. So I'm hoping that this will work out. Now that they're both up there, they're both holding on pretty good. I still have to finish this one up yet, but this is just on here for marker. I still have to put up the edges and that in there yet. I know. So now that they're both on there, it's on there really good now. I had to do the same thing on this side. I had to heat this side up. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay this sword down if I can very carefully on one of the sides. I'm gonna take one of the two edges and just place it here. And wherever it is, that's where it's going to be glued. I can't really adjust it a whole lot at this point because of my problem. So I'm just going to put it up there, glue it on, and I hope that it'll work out. So let's do that. Okay, now that we got our problem fixed on the double swords on the back, they were fighting against each other. I got that fixed. I got both sides glued on. I got the dowel rods in there, and I'm about ready to fill it with the foam. So after we got all that in there, it's actually holding together quite nicely. You can see that it is a little rough right in here, but from the problem I had to make it sit like this. So once I get the foam in here and the sword's gonna be more solid, I'm gonna trim all that off, make it look a lot better. But for what I don't know what I'm doing, I think I'm doing pretty good. so far. That's just a basic look at of it right now. But yeah, for not knowing what I'm doing pretty good. So now that we got this in here, we got that problem fixed. It's holding up quite nice with the magnets. Let's fill this sword. Let's fill both the swords with our foam. We're gonna do it the same way we did the other one. I explained that earlier. I'm just gonna attach the tube there and then run the tube up, and then I'll probably just take the straw and I'll stick it through these holes and I'll just let it, like I explained before, I'm just gonna let it shoot out of those and we'll clean it up. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Okay, so we have both of our swords done, but unfortunately I've run into a problem which I'll show you now. As you can see, one sword is actually on and then it's holding. Oops. Okay, well it was holding. Okay, there we go. It's on there quite nicely. But as soon as I introduce this sword, you can see how much it split apart. And I've reviewed the tape. This was on here just fine. So now I get the fun job of taking these two swords back apart and ripping all the foam out and starting back at square one. Yay. So hopefully I will get this problem solved and I will show you what I've done so you do not run into the same problem. Yeah. Okay, what we have done is, like I said, the swords, when I put the foam in them, they bowed out too much. I'm going to assume, since the foam pushes it out, even though it was low expanding. That's what I'm gonna assume that went wrong here. I'm not too sure, but that's the only variable that changed. So it's got to be the foam. So what I did is I tore them, as you can see, as I've been rambling. I tore them back apart. I ripped out all the foam. Yes, fun. That is not fun. And now I have just put the line of white glue back in to hold the dowel rod back in, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it over like that, line it up, and then basically just glue that down. And I'm not going to use the foam this time. I'm just going to leave it as an empty cavity for the most part, whatever the foam I didn't get out. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm just going to glue the both halves back together. Hopefully this time it won't be screwed up, and then we can complete the back half of the sword. Okay, we're still working on the serrated blades. As you can see, I've still got they're all torn open, and what I've discovered is when I put them together on the back edge of this, they weren't quite right. Easiest way to explain it is my magnets weren't strong enough to hold them up. What I had planned out wasn't right. So what I have done here, I'm telling you this so you can avoid this problem, is you can see I've made circles. I've added magnets more to the outside and a couple more on the inside of this, so when it comes, they're closer together. Basically, I added more magnets to hold up the swords better, is what I've done. So now that I've got all my magnets glued on, you can see I've added 2 more to the outside. I've added a couple more in. I'm going to put them together, and instead of filling them full of foam like I did last time, I'm just going to run a bead of foam right down along both sides of the dowel rod, and maybe a little bit on top of the dowel rod. I doubt it on top, but mainly on both sides. So then when that expands, that'll hold the dowel rod and this all in the same, and then it'll hold the top down. Basically, I'm going to make that my glue just to hold it all together. I'm not going to fully fill it together like I did last time, because I think that was part of my problem last time as well. So I'm going to